So we'll be starting magnetism, okay? Give the heading magnetism. Within magnetism, the first topic we will do is this one, right? Force on charge. Moving in a magnetic field. This is the heading you can give. Force give this heading. Force on a charge moving in a magnetic field. That is the heading. Okay. Now write about it. When a charged body enters a magnetic field, comma, it experiences a force. Called Lorentz magnetic force. The direction of which is given by Fleming's left hand rule, and its magnitude is given by, at F is equal to, we have the formula as QVB sin theta. The magnitude of this force is given by this equation. F is equal to QVB sin theta. Where Q is the amount of charge. V is the velocity of the body. B is magnetic field intensity or strength. Magnetic field strength. Magnetic field strength. The unit of magnetic field strength is Tesla. Denoted by T, capital T. Tesla, the unit is T, capital T. And symbol to represent magnetic field strength or just magnetic field is B. Like electric field denoted by E, capital E, or electric field strength. Same way we have magnetic there, magnet is there, the magnetic field will be there, denoted by B. And theta is the angle between velocity vector and magnetic field vector, B vector, magnetic field. Theta is the angle between the vector V, direction of velocity, and the direction of magnetic field. That means the force depends on what factors? It depends on 4 factors. It depends upon the amount of charge. More the charge it carries, more the force it will have. It depends upon the velocity, more the force. Depending upon the value of magnetic field, stronger the magnetic field, stronger the force is. And it depends upon the angle theta. When will the sine be maximum? When theta equal to 90 degree. For 90 degree, the force of Lorentz magnetic force, or the force on the charged body, is maximum. And when it will be minimum? When theta is 0 degree. 0 degree or 180 degree, because sin 0 is 0, sin 180 is also 0. So when you put 0, then entire thing becomes 0. Then force will not be acting, the amount of force will be 0. and that force will be minimum in that case. Okay. Very often they ask this one, write down below, Lorentz force in vector form. Lorentz force in vector form. How to write this in vector form? They will ask you, write Lorentz force in vector form. So for that we will be writing like this. F is vector quantity, we know force is vector. Charge is not vector, but velocity and magnetic field are vector. So we will be writing as this Q bracket, and sin theta will be adjusted when we write cross product between them. Cos theta will be with the dot product, sin theta will be with the cross product. So we will be writing like this. This is quite important equation. For 1 mark it may come. The question will come, express Lorentz force in vector form, or write Lorentz force in vector form. We will be writing like this. F equal to Q bracket V cross B. That means this force is perpendicular to both velocity and also perpendicular to the magnetic field, according to Fleming's left hand rule. So Fleming left hand rule in class 10 we used to do. So it is like this. You have to stretch your first 3 fingers like this. Here we say this is force, this is magnetic field, and this is the direction of current, because whenever charged body moves it gives current. You have to take the direction of current. If this is the direction of magnetic field and this is the direction of current, so in this direction the force will be acting on the charged body or on the conductor which is carrying current. So this is the method we follow. This force is perpendicular to magnetic field and also perpendicular to the current. That is in that case you can take the direction of velocity. So that is why a cross product. In cross product, the answer will be perpendicular to both these and both these. So that's what it is given by the Fleming's left hand rule. Remember that Fleming's left hand rule, like this. You are stretching first 3 fingers in this manner so that all the 3 are perpendicular to one another. This is perpendicular to this and this is also perpendicular, like 3-dimensional type. So this force direction is perpendicular to both of magnetic field and also to the current. Normally this Fleming's left hand rule, this one we remember by FBI. Like for India we got CBI, Central Bureau of Intelligence. This is only a shortcut method of memorizing it faster. And for USA we have FBI, Federal Bureau of Intelligence. India is Central Bureau of Intelligence. So we remember this by FBI method. F means force. First finger is force. B means magnetic field, as I told you, magnetic field, and I means current. So FBI. Remember the terminology, a shortcut. FBI, force, magnetic field, and this is current. So in this direction, this direction of force will be in this direction, which is perpendicular to both B and velocity, and the current. So Lorentz force in vector form we express or we write in this format: F equal to Q bracket V cross B. Okay, one interesting case, and that case which you have in syllabus is this one. Will allow a charged particle to enter a magnetic field region at right angle. At right angle means that is velocity, direction of velocity and direction of magnetic field is making an angle of 90 degree. When theta is 90 degree, the sine 90 is 1, that means the force will become maximum in that case. The force will be maximum when theta is 90 degree. So that helps us to give the definition of 1 Tesla. 1 Tesla. Tesla is the unit of magnetic field. Definition of 1 Tesla. And this equation is also called, this equation when you write is also known as vector defining equation. Write on here vector defining equation of magnetic field. Even question may come like this. Give the vector defining equation of magnetic field. So we will give the same thing. That means these two are same thing. Now, if they ask you define 1 Tesla, this helps us to define magnetic field. 1 Tesla. One definition of 1 Tesla. You can give the definition of 1 T. Definition of 1 Tesla. How can we define 1 Tesla? Okay, to define 1 Tesla, we'll have a method out here. The method will be like this. The value B, we must get 1. How can we get it 1? We'll take the value of force equal to 1 Newton. Charge value will take 1 coulomb. Velocity we will take 1 meter per second. And theta value will take 90 because sin 90 is 1. The entire calculation will give the value of B equal to 1. Then the value of B will becomes 1 Tesla. That means to make the value of B equal to 1, we have to make the value of force 1 in SI unit. That is 1 Newton, we will say 1 coulomb, 1 meter per second. And theta value, we have to say perpendicular, the charge particle is entering perpendicular or 90 degree, you must mention. So in your definition, so using this technique, we will be giving the definition of 1 Tesla. So now I am telling you the definition of 1 Tesla. Question when they come define 1 Tesla, you will say like this. 1 Tesla is the magnetic field. 1 Tesla, you can write down. 1 Tesla is the magnetic field applied, magnetic field applied perpendicular. 1 Tesla is the magnetic field applied perpendicular to 1 coulomb charge, perpendicular to 1 coulomb charge, 1 coulomb charge moving with a velocity 1 meter per second, moving with a velocity 1 meter per second to make it experience a magnetic force of 1 Newton, to make it experience a magnetic force of 1 Newton. Now, after you have written the definition, make sure that everything has been covered or not. You just check it. Whatever I told you, the technique I told you, has those things been covered or not? Please check that. If you check, then you will see that I said like this. It is the magnetic field applied perpendicular to theta when you take 90 degree perpendicular to 1 coulomb charge, to 1 coulomb, the value of Q I am taking 1 coulomb charge moving with a velocity 1 meter per second. That is covered. To make it experience, that is to make this charge experience a force of 1 Newton. To make it experience what kind of force? A magnetic force. If you write just force also will do, or better answer will be if you write magnetic to make it experience a magnetic force of 1 Newton. That is how we give the definition of 1 Tesla. What is Tesla? Tesla is the unit of magnetic field strength. And now the value of B should come 1 Tesla, and the definition of 1 Tesla, as I told you, you must write that. Now, the value of force, as the equation says, depending upon the value of theta. As I told you, theta value 0 degree, then force will be also 0. That time it will not experience any force. When theta is either 0 degree or 180 degree. When will the force be maximum? When theta is 90 degree, or when the charge particle enters the magnetic field region at right angle. That means theta value is 90 degree. That time the force becomes maximum. And for some other angle, maybe theta value 30 degree, 40 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, and all this kind of values, the value of force will neither be minimum nor be maximum. It will be somewhere in between. So we have only one case in syllabus as per the reduced syllabus, that is when theta is 90 degrees. So that case only we have to learn, and we have to discuss only that case according to the present syllabus of your ISC, and according to the reduced syllabus. So you can give the heading. Next heading you can give motion of charge particle. Motion of charge particle. Motion of or charged particle or charged body unit particle at right angle to a magnetic field. This is the field. Motion of a charged particle at right angle to a magnetic field. So now write about it. When a charged particle enters a magnetic field at right angle, it experiences a maximum magnetic force and it acquires a circular path since F is perpendicular. This is the sign of perpendicular to both velocity and B. When F is perpendicular to both velocity vector and magnetic field vector. Thus the locus of charged particle in this case is a circle. Okay. So this is what the writing part. Now try to understand what I said. Whenever charged particle enters a magnetic field region at right angle, that case only we have in our syllabus. Whenever it enters at right angle, so what will happen? It will experience the maximum magnetic force. The charged particle will not keep on moving straight in the magnetic field region. Rather, what will happen? As it enters the magnetic field region, it will be acquiring a circular path like this. This way, it will keep on moving or circulating there within the magnetic field region like this. Why it will be acquiring a circular path? It will definitely experience the maximum magnetic force, and the path will become circle. The locus means what kind of figure is formed by the motion, by the moving particle. What type of figure is formed? That is called locus. The figure form will be a circle here in this case. Why it will acquire a circular path? Because force is perpendicular to both velocity and also perpendicular to the magnetic field. I think in class 11 and on you have learned about the centripetal force. What is called centripetal force? The force acting that is needed to keep the body in a circular path. The body is here, the body's velocity will be given by the tangent, whereas the centripetal force will act towards the center. What is the angle between F and V? The angle between F and V is how much degree? 90 degree. And if you stretch your three fingers like this, that force is perpendicular to the magnetic field and also perpendicular to the direction of velocity. Actually, it is correct, FBI as I told you, but we will take this current as only the velocity just now. So FBI, the force is perpendicular to this and also perpendicular to this. That is why the result is a circle, because this kind of condition is only satisfied by a circular motion like this, where force will be perpendicular to the velocity. So this is the reason why the path will become circular. When does the path become straight line or the linear? When will the locus will be a straight line? When the force will be in the same direction as the velocity. When force and velocity are in the same direction, the path of the particle will be straight line in that case. So that will not happen here in this case. Now another thing, you have to remember it now only. When a charged particle moves in a magnetic field at right angle, the locus is the circle in that case. But when a charged particle enters an electric field region, any electric field region, that time the locus will be a parabola, or the path of the charged particle will be parabolic in that case. So two situations are there. They are quite similar, but we have to be very sure what kind of path is they are going to acquire. I mean, charged particle is going to acquire. In magnetic field, the path is this circle. But in electric field region, the path will be a parabola, parabolic path. There is a reason also behind that. Because in parabolic path, F will not be perpendicular to the electric field. F will be in the same direction as the electric field. So that's why the path becomes parabolic. There will be deviation, but the deviation will cause it to acquire a parabolic path. I will show you that later. But in that case, the path will be parabola, but out here the path will be a circle. So this part you must learn very well. And in these two cases, both the cases, the charged particle is entering the region at right angle, that is normal to the field or perpendicular to the field, or at right angle to the field they are entering. So there are two situations. It could be a magnetic field or it could be an electric field. If it is a magnetic field, the circle will be formed. The locus is a circle. But if it is electric field, the locus is a parabola. So please remember these two cases very well. If they ask the reason why it acquires a circular path, then you say since F is perpendicular to both V and B. If you just mention that, this will be sufficient for this one. The reason is this one. This is the reason, because F perpendicular to velocity and F also perpendicular to B is satisfied by only circular motion. So that's what we have drawn the diagram and I showed you. Exam time, they will not ask you to show entire detail. If you just write this line, this will be sufficient. Now, what type of path this charged particle is going to acquire? We have seen they are going to acquire a circular path. Now we will find the radius of the circle. Now continuation right on. The radius of the circular path. The radius of the circular path can be. The radius of the circular path can be determined as follows. The radius of the circular path can be determined as follows. Now, since the path is going to be a circle, we will find the radius of that circle. So, how do we find? We will be writing like this. Magnetic force on the charged particle will be equal to centripetal force. This will provide the necessary centripetal force for the circular motion. So we will be writing that, equating that. Magnetic force is equal to centripetal force. Okay, before that, they mostly in the question they will mostly talk about the electron. Charged particle, they will talk about the electron. So what is the locus of an electron which enters a magnetic field at right angle? Electron is charged particle. Electron, the question will talk about electron, then we say circle. What is the locus of an electron when it enters an electric field region at right angle? Then we say parabola. Locus is a parabola, and the nature of the path is parabolic, and in this case the nature of the path will be circular. But the locus is circle and parabola. That way we say. So magnetic force is equal to, we will be writing centripetal force, and formula magnetic force we know QVB sin theta. QVB sin 90, because right angle is the case. So sin 90 is 1. If you write also well and good, if you don't write also is okay. Just write QVB maximum. And centripetal force formula in class level we used to learn that is mv squared by r. Centripetal force formula we have mv squared by r. Now you can cancel this v and 1 v will go, making r the subject of formula, it becomes as mv by qb. So this is the value of radius. Therefore we write r is proportional to mv. What is mv? Mv is called momentum of the charged particle. Momentum formula is mass into velocity. So radius is proportional to the momentum of the charged particle. More the mass, more the radius. Less the mass, less the radius. More the velocity, more the radius. Less the velocity, less the radius. So in a way directly proportional. So we will be writing this r is proportional to mv. So this is the formula of the radius of the circular path. Now that we will be finding the period of revolution of the charged particle in a circle. Period of revolution, which time period we are finding. You can write a period of revolution. Period of revolution. There is T, denoted by T, can be calculated as follows. Calculated as follows. We will be finding the period of revolution. Continuation of this, right? R is equal to M. We have a formula V is equal to, in class 11 we used to do V is equal to omega R. This omega is called speed of revolution. Speed of revolution. Or we call it angular velocity. See, instead of V, we will be writing here omega R by QV. R and R cancel, making omega the subject. The value of omega will become QV divided by M. Omega formula we have 2 pi by T, time period, is equal to QB by M. Making T the subject of formula, the value of T will become 2 pi M by QB. This is the value of time period. If frequencies are all, we write the F is frequency of revolution. That will be reciprocal, because F is equal to, we have 1 upon T, that is reciprocal of this 2 pi M. Where F is frequency and T is time period, or we call it period of revolution. Period of revolution. So these are the derivation you may get in ISC. So learn this. The technique is equal magnetic force. We are equating with the centripetal force. Because centripetal force is related to circular motion, and the motion is going to be circular over here. That's why this magnetic force will provide the necessary centripetal force. Using this, we find the radius, and we find the time period, and we find the frequency. One thing is noticeable here is time period doesn't depend on the mass, doesn't depend upon the velocity or the radius. It does not depend. In the formula, velocity and radius doesn't come. So time period is, we can add it. Hence the period of revolution is independent of. Hence period of revolution is independent of velocity and radius of the circular path. Velocity and the radius of the circular path. Velocity and radius of the circular path. And this is the derivation of radius, and this is the derivation of time period and frequency. Now you can understand. Do you know most of the, this is slightly related to chemistry, most of the atoms have allotropes. Most of the elements have isotopes. Like we say, hydrogen has got 3 isotopes. Do you know that? Hydrogen has got 3 isotopes. What are those isotopes? We write 1H1, 1H2, 1H3. What are isotopes? The atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number. I think you know about that. Hydrogen will be like 1H1, 1H2, 1H3. They are different in mass number. Their mass, their nucleus will have different masses. Mass of this isotope is 1 unit, mass of this is 2 unit, mass of this is 3 unit. So how do we check whether hydrogen has got 3 isotopes and what are the ratio of their masses? In what ratio do they occur? How do we find? We find by this technique only, using the Lorentz-Bose technique. That technique. In that technique, what happens? We will be using a magnetic field region like this. There is a magnetic field region out here like this. Maybe one side north pole, one side south pole. The magnetic field, direction of magnetic field will be from north to the south. The magnetic field direction is like this. This is the direction of B. Direction of B will be from north to the south direction. Direction of B is always north to the south. And now, what do we do actually? Is we will be taking positive rays will be coming out from the nucleus in the form of nucleus of the hydrogen atom. How to take positive rays? To take the positive rays, suppose hydrogen is the element, is the hydrogen gas, will be filling in a cathode ray tube. There is a tube, cathode ray tube. I think you all know about that. Cathode ray tube will have very low pressure. Cathode ray tube, one side will be negative, one side will be positive. So when we supply current, the electrons are emitted from the negative plate and will be going towards the positive plate. From the negative plate, the rays comes out, which are called cathode rays, which will be negatively charged. But at the same time, from the anode side, the rays which will come out, there is rays coming out from the anode side also. Those rays will be called positive rays, and they contain only the nuclei of that particular atom. So those positive rays which are emitted by the anode of a cathode ray tube are made to enter the magnetic field region at right angle. I think you can see over here. What angle does it enter? Everywhere. Here is also magnetic field. Magnetic field is there B. At what angle does it enter? 90 degree. What will happen? Do you think the path of this is going to be straight? Answer is no. It is going to require a circular path. The path within the region will become circular like this. It will be having a circular motion now. So now this one will be having tendency to turn over and have a circular motion like this. But what do? We'll be blocking it. Circular motion is obstructed by a photographic plate here like this. There will be a photographic plate out there. Now this one is like coming up. As it comes up, there is a photographic plate. So it will be hitting the photographic plate. You will find photographic plate will be hit at the three places over here in the form of spots. One will be here, one will be here, and one will be here like this. If it has three isotopes, there will be three spots. If any element has got two isotopes, there will be two spots. If anyone is having four, then four isotopes are there. So their masses are different. If there is only one spot, that means it doesn't have any isotopes. So most of the elements, they have isotopes in the nature. And on the basis of this observation, we find or we conclude that this particular element is having these many number of isotopes. So if there are three spots, then you can check the radius out here. If you measure, then this will be 1 unit, then this will be 2 unit, this will be 3 unit, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, like this. If you measure it, or the ratio, as if you check the ratio of these three, the ratio will come 1:2:3. So on that basis, we check whether a element is having isotope. If it has isotope, then how many and in what ratio their masses will be, in what ratio they will have their masses. That also can be determined by this method. We know the fact that R is proportional to M, because velocity all are at the same velocity, but R is proportional to mv. I have written there mass and velocity. Whereas the velocity is same, that is R depends upon the mass. If the masses differ, masses are different, no? They will have different radius. If you measure this radius, they all are different. That means their nuclei are having different masses. That means different mass number they have. So that is the idea, or this will help us to determine the mass of the nucleus of an atom, or to determine the number of isotopes an element may have. So this device where we find number of isotopes, or where which is used to determine the mass of the nucleus, that is called mass spectrograph, and we have the name of that one. You can write it on Bainbridge mass spectrograph or spectrograph. The device where we apply this technique is called Bainbridge mass spectrograph. When I will be doing the section C, that means the atoms and all, nuclei and all, there I will be telling you about this one, but there I will not tell you the details because you have already done it here. So I will just tell you the mass of the nucleus is measured by the device called Bainbridge mass spectrograph, and it works on the principle of Lorentz force, the magnetic force. We apply a magnetic field to the positive rays, and then we allow them to take a turn in the form of a circle, and a photographic plate is placed just above it, and you see the number of spots on the photographic plate, and that will help you to find the number of isotopes, and also helps you to determine the mass of the nucleus, because you know the formula R is equal to, we have the formula, no? R is equal to mv by qb. So using this, we can always calculate the mass in terms of unit, the mass of the nucleus. Radius will measure, velocity with which they are moving, that also we will know, or there is a technique of finding that, and charge amount of charge it is carrying, that also we know. Magnetic field, how much we have applied, that also we know. We can easily calculate the value of N. That this N will be the mass of the nucleus, which is determined by Weyl-Ridge mass spectrograph. So there used to be another topic called cyclotron, which they have removed now. Recently I checked in the reduced syllabus, cyclotron they have removed. So no, they are not going to ask any question on cyclotron. So about that I will not discuss, but this is mentioned in the syllabus and the further reduced also. So I have discussed that. Then next day I will be doing the problems on this one, problem on the formula, lattice and period revolution and all. So some important type of problems we will do in this topic. And the theory portion I already covered. So this part is over. So this much we will do for today.